You wanted shocking? You wanted chaos? You wanted a moment that would shake the very foundation of professional wrestling? Then explain this to me. How does a mastermind, a man who has survived riots, betrayals, steel chairs, F5S, spears, and decades of backstage politics, end up pouring blood on live television? How does the architect of dominance leave an arena barely able to stand? Because on March 2nd, 2026, the unthinkable happened on WWE Raw. And at the center of the carnage was Paul Heyman, busted open, staggering, and helped to the locker room. Let that sink in. The cameras didn't cut away. They didn't soften the blow. They didn't protect the legend. They let us see everything. And if you watched it live, you felt it in your chest. The show had already been electric. The tension in the arena was suffocating. Rumors had been swirling for weeks about shifting alliances, crumbling empires, and internal power struggles within WWE. But nobody expected blood. And certainly not his. Here's the question I need you to answer in the comments right now. Do you think this was a calculated message, or did things spiral completely out of control? Because what we saw didn't look scripted. It looked personal. The segment began like so many others. Paul Heyman walked to the ring with that familiar smugness. That slow, deliberate strut. Microphone in hand. Eyes scanning the crowd like a general surveying a battlefield. You know the look. I control this industry look. He soaked in the booze. He smiled. And then he did what Paul Heyman does better than anyone alive. He talked. He dissected the locker room. He mocked the challengers. He dismissed the threats. He reminded everyone that empires don't fall, they are conquered. And that's when the mood changed. Not gradually. Instantly. The music hit. The crowd erupted. And Heyman's smirk faded for just half a second. Did you catch that? Go back and rewatch it. There was fear there. Just a flicker. And if you noticed it too, comment I saw it. Because that tiny crack told the entire story. The confrontation that followed wasn't just physical. It was psychological warfare. The ring felt smaller. The air felt heavier. Every word exchanged had the tension of a loaded weapon. Heyman tried to control the narrative. He always does. He shifted blame. He twisted facts. He baited his opponent. But something was different this time. This wasn't business. This wasn't strategy. This was rage. And then it happened. A shove, a stumble, and chaos exploded. The strike that opened him up came so fast some viewers didn't even register it until the camera zoomed in. Blood. Bright red. Running down the side of Paul Heyman's face. The crowd gasped. Not cheered. Gasped. When was the last time you saw Heyman bleed like that? Seriously, drop the year in the comments if you remember. Because moments like this don't happen anymore. They're rare. They're uncomfortable. They're powerful. He tried to stand tall. Even then, even with blood streaking down his cheek, he tried to maintain composure. That's the genius of Paul Heyman. The man can sell fear without surrendering power. But the second blow changed everything. The arena shifted from shock to frenzy. Security rushed down. Referees flooded the ring. Superstars appeared from the back. And through it all, Heyman looked stunned. Not just physically, but emotionally. Was that humiliation? Was that betrayal? Or was that realization that maybe the control he thought he had was gone? Answer this for me. Do you think Heyman saw this coming? Or was he truly blindsided? Because the look in his eyes said more than any promo ever could. As officials surrounded him, blood continued to drip. They handed him a towel. He pushed it away at first. That detail matters. He didn't want to look weak. He didn't want to look vulnerable. But the body can only take so much. And as he finally accepted help, the unthinkable image hit our screens. Paul Heyman being escorted to the back. Not walking confidently. Not smirking. Not whispering in someone's ear. But being helped. Half-carried. Clutching his head. The camera followed every step. The crowd noise faded into an eerie roar. Some fans cheered. Some fans booed. Some were completely silent. Because no matter how you feel about him, you don't ignore history bleeding in front of you. Backstage footage showed officials scrambling, medical staff stepping in, doors swinging open, tension everywhere. The broadcast team didn't even know how to react. Their tone shifted from hype to concern in seconds. And that's when the gravity of the situation settled in. This wasn't just a segment. This was a message. But from who? And to who? Was this aimed at Heyman personally? Or was this aimed at the empire he represents? You know what I'm talking about. Every empire has a brain. And when you attack the brain, the body collapses. So here's another one for you. If Paul Heyman is out of the picture, who benefits the most? Think carefully before you answer. Let's talk legacy. Paul Heyman has built careers. He has manipulated champions. He has rewritten the rules of influence. From ECW revolutionary to modern-day strategist, his fingerprints are all over wrestling history. He doesn't wrestle. He doesn't need to. His power is in his voice, his mind, his alliances. So to see him physically broken down, that hits differently. It sends a warning. And the locker room felt it, because the rest of the night carried a different energy. Superstars who usually looked confident suddenly looked cautious. Backstage interviews were sharper, more guarded. Almost like everyone realized that if Heyman isn't untouchable, no one is. Now, let's analyze the brutality. The way he was opened up wasn't accidental looking. It wasn't theatrical. It felt vicious, calculated, almost like someone wanted him to suffer. And that's where things get dangerous. Because blood changes perception. Blood makes rivalries real. Blood makes fans choose sides. So I'm asking you again, did this make you respect him more? Or did it make you feel like karma finally caught up? Drop your answer below. There was a moment, brief but powerful, when Heyman looked back at the ring while being escorted out. Did you notice that? It wasn't just a glance. It was a promise. A silent one. Like he was saying, this isn't over. And if you know anything about Paul Heyman, you know revenge isn't emotional. It's strategic. He doesn't strike back with fists. He strikes back with consequences, which makes what happened even more terrifying. Because whoever did this, they may have won the battle. But did they just start a war they can't finish? The social media reaction exploded within minutes. Clips went viral. Fans debated whether the moment crossed a line. Analysts called it one of the most shocking visuals in recent Raw history. And here's the crazy part. We still don't know what the full fallout will be. Will fines be issued? Will suspensions follow? Will alliances fracture? Or will this ignite something even bigger heading into the next premium live event? You tell me, is this the beginning of the end or the spark of a new era? There's also something symbolic about this happening on March 2nd, early in the year, on the road to the biggest stages. Momentum matters right now. Perception matters. Power dynamics matter. And suddenly, the man who has orchestrated so many dominant runs looks human, vulnerable, bleeding. And vulnerability in wrestling is dangerous, because predators smell it. But here's a twist you might not have considered. What if this was the plan? What if being busted open, being helped to the back, was the ultimate manipulation? Think about it. Sympathy can be weaponized. Shock can distract. And chaos can create opportunity. Is Paul Heyman the victim? Or is he 5 steps ahead, like always? Comment mastermind if you think this was strategic. Comment victim if you think he got caught slipping. Let's see where the Ring Rumble community stands. One thing is undeniable. This moment will be replayed for years. The image of Heyman's blood-streaked face. The towel pressed against his head. Officials guiding him through the curtain. That visual is etched into Raw history now. And it forces a conversation we weren't ready to have. What happens when the puppeteer loses control? Who grabs the strings? Who steps into that vacuum of power? And who becomes the next target? Because make no mistake, this wasn't random. Nothing at this level ever is. Someone sent a message. Loud, violent, unforgettable. And if you think this ends quietly next week, you haven't been paying attention. Heyman doesn't forget. He doesn't forgive. And he absolutely doesn't lose without retaliating. So here's how I want to end this. Close your eyes for a second and picture that moment.
The blood.
The stunned expression. The officials surrounding him. The crowd buzzing. That wasn't just a highlight. That was a turning point. We may look back at March 2nd, 2026 and say, that was the night everything changed. For Heyman.
For the locker room. For Raw.
For the entire power structure. And if you felt that shift too, if you felt that electricity through the screen, if you couldn't look away, then you already know this story is far from over. Now I need to hear from you. Was this justice? Was this betrayal? Was this strategy? Or was this the beginning of chaos? Sound off in the comments. And one more thing before you go. If someone in that locker room thinks they ended Paul Heyman's influence tonight, they might have just made the biggest mistake of their career. Because wounded masterminds? They're the most dangerous kind. Ring rumble, this war just got personal.